Hello and welcome. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining me. Sorry that the beginning was a little bit clunky. There's been some changes in the system and I haven't got on top of them, and I'm on top of them now. Hi, my name is Inbaal. I'm a psychic, tarot reader, and witch. I'm very passionate about the tarot. I'm very passionate about sharing it with you. I'm here on the Bigfoot Outlaw network, talking about psychic development and dealing with the everyday nature of the mystical. I was hoping to talk a little bit about the Mercury retrograde today, and this clunky start to the show was a perfect demonstration of what the Mercury retrograde is capable of if you just let it have free reign. Sorry, I was giggling because I could see some messages coming in, and we've got Sabrina, who is opening with hola, and hola to you too. And we've got Rob, who is starting with hello, hello. And then we got Abdul opening with hi, baby, carrying on to why are you so cute? And it's really sort of going downhill from that. So we're going to fix that. User, there you go, ban user, wonderful. And let's go back to Rob, who says, you don't even know what Mercury did to me with its shadow. That is the kind of energy I'd like for everybody to bring onto the show today. So if you want to whinge to me, about what the Mercury retrograde shadow did to you, I'll whinge to you about what it did to me. And you might be embarrassed to tell other people like what the Mercury retrograde did to you, because it might sound like mine certainly will sound like I'm whinging about stuff that I've got no business whinging about, but I'm gonna, so you might as well, do it alongside me. I do want to draw our attention to the fact that after 5 years of not tidying the books around me, I spent the shadow period doing that. Look how they're all straight. They're clean as well. And we've got some of our owls there on display. We love our owls here. So, so it's not all bad. But to anybody who's new, let's just sort of run a quick explainer about what the Mercury retrograde is and why it sucks so bad. So, Mercury is the planet of communication. As such, it governs all aspects of communication in our lives. That is, our phones, our laptops, our text messages, our hi Celine, hi. It governs contracts, sales. It governs your studies. So anything that includes communication in it. Hi, Fighters Against Anxiety, loving your mission. So anything that touches on communication, which in this digital world that we live in is almost everything, will be impacted by Mercury, but wherever Mercury is at any given time. Now, 3 to 4 times per year, for 3 to 4 weeks each time, Mercury appears to be going backwards in the sky. Now, you will rightly say to me, what have you been drinking? Of course, planets only go forwards, planets don't go backwards. Yes, but our planet Earth also goes forwards, possibly in a different direction. So at times, Mercury appears to us as if it's going backwards. And when that happens, that is called the Mercury retrograde. And when that happens, all manner of communications go wrong. And so, for example, I know that WhatsApp, the platform, was having some serious technical issues today, Mercury retrograde, where we'll soon sort of whinge about what happened to us. But things like the parcels that you ordered getting lost, Mercury retrograde, trying to give somebody a compliment and they take it as an insult, Mercury retrograde. And Rob adds, one of our least favorite things about the Mercury retrograde, Rob reminds us, it drags people back from the hideous past where they should have stayed. So you've got an ex that you completely like, you forgot their surname, you never want to see them again. The Mercury retrograde will bring them back into your life, for example. Or if you left an old job under a cloud and never wanted to see the boss again, and you come right across from them in Sainsbury's, that kind of thing. So that's what we're going to be talking about. This was just like a little explainer what the Mercury retrograde is. Hi, Michelle. And I saw Kim coming in. And hi, Kim. Kim, we are having like a whinge-a-thon about what the Mercury retrograde has already done to you. Let's just talk dates first. The Mercury retrograde started yesterday. It will carry on until the day before last of November. So it straddles basically the rest of November. Then you've got the shadow period of the Mercury retrograde, which was from last Wednesday, so October 21st, all the way through to November 10th. Yeah, exhausting. And then after the Mercury retrograde is finished, November 29th, it's still going to be the shadow period of the Mercury retrograde all the way through to December 16th. Sometimes the shadow period is shocking. Sometimes it's easy to overcome. I will just say to you that I get very cocky during the Mercury retrograde. I'll get like 3/4 of the way through it and I'll be like, it wasn't so bad this time. It wasn't so bad. I managed to pull through it. And then the last Mercury retrograde, so when we had the end of summer, middle of summer, my car broke down at the same time that my husband's car broke down. From a 2-car family, we were down to being a 0-car family, thanks to the Mercury retrograde. So this is the kind of stuff we want to talk about. We've got Tor Papa saying, wake me up December 16th. As Tor is a Sagittarian, this will impact Sagittarians and Scorpios more so than other Mercury retrogrades. And of course, Virgos and Geminis always get it like right in the face. So Sabrina is sharing with us, an ex-friend I saw this past weekend. I gave a look that there's still an ex-friend. Yeah, that, to be honest, that's what the Mercury retrograde brings back. It doesn't bring back people you were dying to catch up with. It brings back exactly the people that you have no interest, no curiosity towards. And and Rob helpfully is bringing us an example of real life and saying it's making people so suspicious as well. Like, geez, calm down, paranoid city. Yes, it does. So, and Mark is saying good evening in Balmoral. Good evening, everyone else. And evening to and Dylan. Fabulous. And Rob is saying good night to our see you mid-December. You definitely won't miss anything but sheer horror. So again, for anybody who is not like laughing at the sheer horror, anybody that's not like well inside the ins and outs of this Mercury retrograde, the first 10 days are going to be the Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius. And so that could impact anything to do with travel, anything to do with holidays. So if you're about to book your holiday, don't book your holiday, wait. And if you're about to go on holiday, make sure you've got all your stuff. Make sure you've got all your items, all your carry-on, make lists, whatever. And then the second half of the Mercury retrograde is in Scorpio. Scorpio is all about the art of seduction, about keeping secrets. So if you've got any secrets, kiss them goodbye. You might as well take a page in the paper and print those secrets yourself, or somebody else will do. I've got to tell you, when I write about the retrograde quite a lot, and it goes to like papers and like to polite society. So I try to be very polite about it and say, we all learn our lessons and stuff. Let me share with you a conversation, like ironically, text conversation I had with my friend just before. And every time I'm about to use the F word, instead of it, I'm going to say duck, right? So she says to me, okay, so what is this retrograde for? What should I work on? Really positive. I said to her, it doesn't do anything. It just ducks things up. Not a time for growth, but for hiding. First 10 days of Sagittarius, I said to her, travel and holiday plans duck up. Second half is in Scorpio. Sex life ducks up. People lie, catfish, giving her like pointer. And she goes, no, my cousin's flights better not get messed up because I'm pet sitting. I said to her, get extra pet food. This is what the retrograde is for. I said, learning how to be ready for anything. So I'd love to be polite about it. And to be honest, we've got a few other retrogrades going on at the same time, but it's always that Mercury retrograde. There's like a niggling element to it where it gets exactly under your skin, exactly in the bits that annoy you. A little anecdote that I love to share whenever the Mercury retrograde starts is that, some people obviously poo-poo it, you can't believe in it. When the whole Meta platform collapsed, do you remember when Facebook wasn't working a couple of years ago and Instagram wasn't working? And I don't know, I think people were going back to MySpace. So that was going on for like a day or two. The whole server collapsed. That was, of course, during the Mercury retrograde. And like I said, I know that there is some kind of an error with what's up today. First day of Mercury retrograde. Taurus says, evening everyone from T&D. And that's so cute. Dal, always with the positivity, saying at least the retrograde will be over by Christmas so we can have something fun to look forward to. Absolutely. So it's obviously not just Christmas, but the shadow period is, is less horrific. It's less disruptive. So the whole thing will be over before December even comes in. So if you've ordered your tree or if you're having it delivered or anything, it should be all right. Should be all right. Rob is saying evening, greeting his adoring crowds. Marcus says, I'm happy with the folks I have in my life, and the rest, well, well enough to know my answer. Yeah, so don't pick up any phone numbers that you don't recognize. Marcus is greeting Rob. Spawn says, good evening, Inbaal Marcus chat. Blessings to you all. Good evening, Spawn. We're chatting about the Mercury retrograde. Has it done anything unkind to you already? Are you feeling personally victimized by the Mercury retrograde? Rob says to Mark, I'm ready to move city. Take me away. There we go. All my boys are waving at each other. Wave. That is very, very cute. And Mark has put up some ducks. Very nice. Rob says, under your skin indeed, exploding into rage as the slightest inconvenience. So, you owe us a story, Rob. You said that the shadow period of the Mercury retrograde has already victimized you. Has it brought back somebody very, very, very special that you'd like to become much less special? Tell me what happened. Tell all of us what happened. You're in a safe space here. Tor is loving the MySpace shout outs. Yeah, I was never on that. Would you have been far too young for it? Rob says, I'm trying to be calm. We all know me well to know that's a bit tricky. Um, my MySpace brought you into the Charm theme song. Really? Even my fruit hasn't been sweet. The audacity. I love when you get in a rage. Um, Rob, how soon is Now by Love Split Love, originally by the Smiths? Yeah. It's the. Is that it? Evening Spawn, your separate chat thing. Oh, you're not seeing each other outside of my comment strip. Tor says, the girl who makes my lyric videos PC broke, so don't come crying at me when I'm releasing Christmas videos at Valentine's. Yeah, I had a girl postpone her reading just a few days ago in the shadow period because her router broke. So yeah, things are definitely breaking. And during the shadow period, mysteriously, this part here of my laptop became broken. I don't know why, and everyone in the household is denying all knowledge. Mm-hmm. Spawn says, Spawn, you know so much. Spawn says, G5 magnetic storm is predicted. So high chance to see the auroras over the next few days. I don't know. Is it? I never know if I'm north enough to see it. I know that it's possible not too far from here. Rob says, work-related incidents. I can't even tell you my horror stories, but I went to bed for 2 days. That is hard. Mark is saying Tor is asking what it is. So my shadow period of the Mercury retrograde. So a big part of what I do for work is I write, not like entirely articles, but I'll write quotes like commentary. So I'll write quotes about like astrological stuff, like I was saying. I'll write quotes um, about body language sometimes. I'll make predictions. And usually, like the majority of them, go to the journalist and then find their way to the paper. And over the last week and a half, the majority of stuff I submitted just vanished into the ether and never got printed. And it's stuff that is like relatively timely. So if it hadn't got printed, it's not getting printed. Do you know what I mean? So I've done like, it's awesome. I still get paid for it, but it so rarely happens that it was really strange and very Mercury retrograde that it happened or like in the same week and a half. It's so rare for me that I'll put something together and it won't get published. That it wouldn't really happen more than like once a week, once every couple of weeks. But last week and this week, the majority of things I wrote haven't got published. So that to me is very, very strange. Maria Amethyst is saying hello, Miss. Hi, Maria. We're having a bit of a whinge bag about all the ways that the Mercury retrograde has disappointed us. Maria says, "May I please ask a free question?" Absolutely, go right ahead. Let's look at the messages I missed. So we're going over the meaning of NAF. To be honest, I never really knew exactly what it meant, so that's good to know. But Tor says, Thankfully, I had the foresight to have the video for the next non-Christmas single done. But the actual new remix was delayed because the producer's PC broke. Does she have like a date for when it should be fixed? So Tor said, so my Mercury retrograde is already a bit naff. Yeah, as in poopy. Is saying Robbie's still working in the same place. Mm-hmm. Oh, Amy says, you have the nicest face. I hope someone has told you that. Thank you. That's really, really kind. And saying hi all. Thank you. Too sweet, too sweet. Um, wait. I think I missed a message. Oh no, I haven't. Thank you. So Taurus says, babe, 2 different PCs broke. Sam's and the video girls. 2. Don't, between friends, don't get too angry about 2, lest 2 become 3. So Maria's got a little question here saying, I'm wondering, do you feel me and my ex Philip will ever be together again in the future? He doesn't want me now, but is it ever possible for us to try once more, and when? Let's have a look whether it's ever possible or not so much. It's possible for the 2 of you to get together again. However, it's not going to be for love. So if you do get together again, it'll be in the distant future, like in 10 years, and you bump into each other and you're single and he's single potentially at the time. And so you think, well, might as well try and be together rather than be separate. So you try it. You try to see what it's like as an arrangement. Fall in love again, I don't feel it. And I know that you think like you're still in love with him now, but I don't think that you are. I think where you are is more in a place of habit, more in a place of remembering what it was like. I feel like the love has already sort of seeped away, and now the best thing for you to do is to close that door and move towards something more rewarding, somebody that would appreciate you more. Sandy Black. Oh, sorry, your message is not coming up on my screen. There we go. Sandy Black saying hello, all blessings. Hello, Sandy Black. We are talking about the different ways that the Mercury retrograde may have victimized you during the shadow period or today. So yeah, let us know. Rob says, Tor, just say it's something Christmas, like it's Piglet's Christmas or like Hedgehog Christmas. Sabrina says, I'm just crossing my fingers. This one is kind to me or not so dreadful. So you're a Cancerian. As a Cancerian, it shouldn't touch you in too horrific a way, because because Mercury itself is not in Cancer. It's very far from Cancer. I think there's only one day when the Mercury and the Moon meet. Let me check. It's like the 25th, something like that. It's like before Thanksgiving. And so the one day that could be a little bit hairy, when have we got Mercury and the Moon, Mercury and the Moon, Mercury and the Moon, 20th. Yeah. So on the 20th, the Sun, Mercury, and the Moon are all at around 28 degrees of Scorpio. So on the 20th, that's the one day to stay in bed if you can, not answer the phone, and try not to drop anything. One day you can get through. Rob is welcoming Sandy. Tor is saying, still on the two broken computers, saying in two separate countries. Yeah. Mark is welcoming Amy. Maria saying, I'm very grateful. Thank you so much. And Daldal saying, retrograde is Murphy's Law. So, you know what? Sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not even that clever. So, Murphy's Law is that sort of something like whatever you don't expect is going to happen, or what you least expect. So, it's the element of surprise. Mercury retrograde can sometimes even attack you in the blandest, plainest ways, like, you know, a parcel getting lost is, you know, it's fairly commonplace. It's certainly not Murphy's Law, but it'll also happen on the Mercury retrograde, for example. Marcus is welcoming Sandy. Dora is saying hedgehogs Christmas is cute. That is cute, actually. Yeah. Sandy welcoming Rob. Rob says, who's going to know if you're telling the truth or not, Tor? They can't exactly go ask the hedgehogs now, can they? Tor says, not a bad idea, actually, Rob. Yeah, very cute. Mark is saying, well, are you okay? It's that time a month later. So asking, what happened a month ago? Let me have a look. Did something happen 10th, 11th of October? No. I don't know. But no, I'm 100% okay. Yeah, I'm great. Sandy is welcoming Maria says, I'm just very sad and I wish us to be together, but there is no love. If there's no love, there's, yeah. I appreciate your sadness. Sadness is a wonderful emotion. Sadness is an important emotion. It allows us to process the feelings. It allows us to process the overwhelm that we're going through. But if you know there is no love, one of the best, most self-honoring things you can do is, you know, move on from it. Amy says habit. I get that, right? I think we've all done that. Rob says, oh, Marie, don't go where there is no love. Open up to love elsewhere. It will come. Just be open, right? I think that's really, really accurate. Tor says, oh, and my boiler is broke. Yeah. Spawn says, expect some tech difficulties over the next few days as we're about to get hit by a few more CMEs, as well as a massive halo eruption from our sun. Not excited about it. Not excited. Rob says, good thing you're always like 1,000 degrees, Tor, although nobody wants a cold wash scrub down. Marie says, I do feel like I miss him, but maybe it's fear of loneliness. The emotions are very valid. The emotions are very valid. It's great to feel what you're feeling. It's great to be in touch with your, you know, emotional side. However, if you know that this is not right for you, then you want to do yourself the biggest favor. Amy says, why is everything coming together for me right now? It's like out of my control. Suddenly meeting all the right people at the right time. Amazing. And Amy says, and this I love, I don't want to jinx it by my doubt. I agree with this so wholeheartedly, like I can't even tell you. So rather than jinx it, step up to, to whatever is kind of your, your heavenly protector. If you're big into angels, step up to the angels. If you're big into any specific god or goddess, step up to them and thank them. That solidifies the miracle. You step in with gratitude and you say, thank you so much for bringing these people into my life. Thank you so much for making my dreams come true. Thank you for putting me as a top priority when you're looking for all the different lives to fix up, and you're fixing up my life as a priority. Thank you. That feeling of gratitude that you share with a spiritual being or with spiritual concept makes your miracle more real, more solidified, more, more present. So yeah, don't question it at all. Everything is coming together for you right now because it's the right time for it. Retrograde, don't worry about it. Marie says, so you don't feel we ever will try this year, me and Philip? No. So I answered that and it was a no. Sabrina says, that's a Saturday. I can definitely do that, right? That's just one day. One day. You can do it, enjoy it, make it a break day. Although if you're planning to sort of watch movies that day, then be really prepared that at least one of your movie platforms won't cooperate. Dora says, Inbaal, I sent you the new remix. Can you forward to Rob? He'll love it. Probably not the time and place. No, I'll forward it to Rob right now. I haven't listened to it yet because I could see that a voice thing was coming. So I thought, probably much better to do it when. Oh, how do I send it to him? To do it when people are asleep. How do I forward it? Why won't it forward? Oh, because I haven't downloaded it yet. That's why. There we go. Now it's got the forward. The Rob. Where's Rob's number? See, this is like a regular standard issue phone. Has no interest of forwarding your single to Rob. There we go. Rob F. That's not you, Rob. Yeah. There we go. This is correct, Rob. There we go. You've got it, Rob. What message have we got? So Marie says, he told me he doesn't love me. Well, like Oprah says, when people show you who they are, believe them. And Marie says, but he may change his mind. He may change his mind. But why would you wait for somebody who's so rude to your face? When he changes his mind, he can find somebody else to mess around with. Sabrina says, ooh, can I ask a question? Yeah, send a question. Why not? Rob says, hi, yes, forward to me. I can use a good new song. Amazing. Daldal says, I feel if you feel things so wrong during retrograde, it's going to hit you harder. Yes, because the emotions can be a bit of a roller coaster during the retrograde as well. So, you wake up, maybe a little bit confused. Maybe you've had very vivid dreams, not naming names, but me. And then it is a little harder to process like big emotional things. We've got a question here from Sabrina who says, will the ex agree to move our daughter to another school? Brilliant question. Will he agree or initially not agree? He will initially not agree, as you suspected, not because he thinks that it will be a mistake for her, but because he thinks that agreeing with you somehow places him at a disadvantage. And so let's extend the question a little bit and say how to make sure that he agrees. And because it's something that would benefit her as well, it would be in this situation a good idea to send her to lead with it, so that she says, I want to change school. Can you sign the forms? Normally, I would and you would say that, what's between the parents is between the parents, and it's not necessary for the child to take an active part in such a complex situation. But in this specific instance, getting the child to take an active part will benefit the situation and move it along. Because the problem he has is not with the school, it's certainly not with child. The problem he has is with you, just because you exist, not because you do or you say anything. So you've got to circumnavigate that. And Chris says, just when you think you healed, Mercury retrograde comes back to bring it up. Double check again every time. Goodness me, this is so accurate. This is so accurate because anything that the Mercury retrograde brings up is kind of a test. So it's testing you, like it'll bring your insufferable ex back into your life, and it's testing you, and it's saying, do you really not want to have this person in your life? And you're like, no, I'm all right, keep him. But that shows you how you feel between you and yourself. The breaking computers, the breaking cars, completely apart from, being financially challenging, it also tests you, like, what's important to you. Have you got like a plan B for things? The very specific but kind of crazy example that I was giving, a lot of stuff that I've been writing hasn't sort of ended up where it should be ending up. That is that's getting me to sort of check with myself, do you need for those things to be published, or are you happy just sort of writing them and getting paid for it, which is, the right answer. So yes, yeah. So Mercury retrograde brings it up to double check. I think it's true, and it is checking if you've healed. Rob says, Inbaal, I should explain, we're talking about the reasons why Tor would be releasing Christmas songs at random time of the year. So many different Christmas dates. Hedgehog Christmas. I couldn't follow it, but that is cool. Spawn says, tell Mercury to go sit on the naughty step and stop messing with us all. I will. I'm not excited about sort of having to learn lessons that I think I already learned. I'm not excited about the Mercury retrograde. I'm not actually super excited about any retrogrades. Amy says, I expect the worst. Always a nice surprise when things go my way. Why in a state now where it's all going so good suddenly? So this kind of culture of expecting the worst, I think, first of all, it's sort of quite geographical. So there are like literally entire cultures, which I see as an outsider coming into British culture. This sort of expecting the worst is just sort of the way people talk and the way people joke and the way people are with each other. Whereas in other cultures, there's a lot more like everything is going to be okay. Don't worry about it. It'll work in your favor. And personally, as a witch, I find it so useful to think in a much more positive and optimistic way. And I think the most successful people and also the happiest people and they're not necessarily the same. The successful and the happy is not necessarily the same. The happiest people are constantly empowering themselves and talking themselves up, whereas talking yourself down comes from a place of fear, of thinking, everything's going to go bad, everything's going to be garbage, and then if something nice happens, oh, it's a pleasant surprise. But wouldn't it be incredible if you were always in this sort of state of excitement, expecting that pleasant surprise to happen, because pleasant surprises will happen. And what you do by kind of fostering that excitement is extending it so that you have this sort of state of happiness throughout. And then will disappointing things happen? Absolutely. They're not shy. They're not shy to step into your life when they feel like it's time for you to be taken down a peg or two. But you're not spending your whole week expecting, the sort of the bad surprises to happen. Marcus said, I just asked how you were last month. So asking, checking in, basically, because you're always doing reading, etc. So nice to check in on you. I'm great, thank you. I am doing fabulous. I had an early night last night, which was nice. And somebody I know sent me like this really interesting, like mini Israeli rock opera that I'd never seen before. I've never heard of it. So, and it's like really, really trippy. It's like really bizarre. So it was incredible. So I just sort of watched it and then went to sleep last night. You know how rarely I get an early night. So, so that kind of set the day. Today, a bit so-so. I had another hospital day. It wasn't very successful. But me, I'm doing great. Doing great. Shouldn't be too late to bed either. Amy says, like, almost I don't know what to do with it. Do you know, Amy? It's a habit. It's a habit that if you want to adopt it, you got to work on it, because you'll have that little voice in your head that says to you, what if it doesn't work? What if it doesn't happen? And you have to challenge that voice. So it's a process, to if you wanted to sort of be more positive in your day to day, you challenge that voice and you say to that voice, how do you know things will go wrong? How do you know it won't work out? And the voice won't know how to answer that, because there is no answer. Everything is always 50-50. Anything in life is 50-50. It doesn't matter how many successes you've had. When you try something new, it might work and it might not work. It's 50-50. And, the opposite is also true. Let's say you've had a lot of failures, a lot. The next thing you try might be a success. It might be a failure. It's 50-50. So when the little voice in your head says to you, things are not going to work out, you got to challenge it, because that little voice doesn't have any more information than the rest of us do. Do you know what I mean? Sabrina says, I've been dragging my feet in discussing it with him. So now you see exactly why, because you sensed that that's how he would respond. So you may need to sort of send your little scout ahead of time, so that at least she kind of plants the seed. Marie says, well, if we ever get back and it happened next year, I already answered that. And it's honestly sort of super, super impolite to be repeating the same question again. Do you know what I mean? Kathy says, had to move to Facebook. Could not comment on YouTube. Hello, everyone. So if we've been paying attention, and I hope we have, we're talking about the Mercury retrograde and all the little things that it does and all the little things that it hassles us. And for example, not being able to comment on YouTube, like Kathy has shown, is like inexplicably exactly the kind of thing that would happen during the Mercury retrograde. So Kathy is ahead of the game. Switch to Facebook, can comment. And that's really what the Mercury retrograde does for you. It keeps you on your toes. It keeps you on your toes. it makes sure that you don't get like too complacent anywhere. Dora says, no, I've been having to wash my hair in cold water. Nasty. Oh. Roger says, howdy, Inbaal, everyone. Hey, Roger. We're talking about the Mercury retrograde and all the different ways that that it can get on your nerves. Tor is joining in the Amy Love Fest, and I'm loving this Amy Love Fest, saying, don't question it, Amy. And Amy says, great advice. Thanks so much. You can do this. And, you know, whenever you feel like I can't do this, it's too much, it's too, you know, it doesn't fit with me, come here and we'll do some more of this. It's fun. Marcus says, Tor, I've started to grow my hair black, but I would hate my hair washed in cold water. Just no. Sometimes you got to. Roger Bliss says, oh, and this is for everyone. Be sure to hit the like button, everyone, if you haven't, here on Grizz's channel and on Inbaal's channel. Thank you so much. So make sure you put likes. Make sure you subscribe. When you subscribe, then you can find out the moment that the notification goes on, and then you can wait for the episode for whenever it comes. Dora says, not naming names, but me. I know I don't want to make it all about me. You know, I want it to be like a collaborative show that we're all in it together. Amy says, it's just the dumbest thing. It's all going so good suddenly. Wait, how do I deserve this? Who am I to have such good things happen? It's really sort of, it's a cultural thing, and for a lot of people it's a family thing. So if in your family people were not supposed to celebrate themselves, were not supposed to be like proud of themselves, then that can really sort of stay with you to, you know, to adulthood. And it's something that, if I can share from my own experience, is something that I struggled with as well, because the messages that I had growing up was, don't show off, you're not so special, nobody's that special. It wasn't like personal, nobody's that special, you're not so clever. And those messages were pretty hard to kind of break apart, but it is possible. And if you can repeat the positive messages to yourself, if you can develop self-love, which is a process, it's not something that you'll just wake up tomorrow and have it, but you could wake up a year from now and have it. That's still like the rest of your life. But it can come from culture, it can come from family, it can come from so many different directions. The fact is, or I believe it's a fact, that you can do it. Of course you deserve it, or it wouldn't happen to you. Of course good things will happen to you because you deserve it. They go together. And also, while we're on the subject, when bad things happen, it's not because you deserve it. There's always a lesson. Rob says, I dreamed a bear was chasing me the other night. I'm not even scared of bears besides the normal levels of sensible fear. So this is actually something that I talked to Laura about in one of the shows I did with her. And she said that bears in dreams symbolize like maternal instincts, maternal urges, or indeed, you know, the maternal line in your own family. So it could be connected to the female line in your family in the dream. Have a little think if that makes any sense. Amy says, you spoke before about habit. That is mine. It's mine. It's yours, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't oblige you. Taurus says, not a bear. Sorry, the messages are sticking up a little bit because the Mercury is retrograde. The messages are sticking a little bit because on the list on the screen where I've got the messages, there's like an important announcement that just eats up like half of the line. Kathy says, I've been feeling less stressed these past few weeks. I hope it continues. I hope it continues for you as well. Remind me your star sign, Kathy. Maybe there's a positive message that you can share for your, for your friends from the same star sign. Marcus says, do you know something I just realized? I've had no bad days in about 2.5 years, not even felt down. That is strange. What's going on with me? I mean, I'm around people I love in my life, but not a partner. I think you answered your own question. Without being rude, in front of all our closest friends and viewers, but maybe what this shows you is that you've got like the worst taste in partners. And so now that you're single, you're happy all the time because, obviously I know you personally and you're an insanely positive person, unbelievably positive person. But each time that you were with a partner, they would drag you down. You don't deserve that. Amy says, just thank God and keep going. Don't analyze too much. Yeah. Gratitude is so important. She goes, so used to being a loser clown. Never. Rob says, that was so scary, Tor. Tor, I'm not going to put the message on the screen just in case the C word gets flagged by anything. But it looks like Rob saw your recommendation, judging from that. Marcus says, I think that thing I sent you is going to throw the cat amongst the pigeons. Yeah, I hope it does. Those pigeons needs, a bit of ruffling. It'll help you with the bear phobia due to your dreams. Right, we've just got a few more minutes to go. So I'm going to flash up the messages where the chappies are talking to each other. So I'm going to flash up messages. Let me see if I can get rid of... No, I can't get rid of the line that is sort of making this a little harder for me. Now I'm flashing the messages just to make sure that we're not leaving anybody unflashed. Rob says, maybe Inbaal will give me a dream where she sees this. So yeah, let me know if you feel like maybe the mother line is connected. Tor says, I want to see this rock opera. Thanks. Let me forward it to you. I'm not going to say what I was going to say. I'm just telling you that I'm sending it to you on a platform that we never, ever use, you and I. So I'm sharing that, or yeah, there we go. Let me know that you got it. And then when I watch the second part, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow night, I'll send you the second part as well. Rob says, I wonder if it's good as Repo the Genetic Opera. It does have an element of healthcare that kickstarts things. But I've not seen Repo. Is that with Paris Hilton? And Amy says, I have a sense of humor, which I'm so grateful for. It keeps me going on. Do you know, if you've got a sense of humor, you can really, what do you call it? Kind of rope it in helping you become more positive. Do you know what I mean? The sense of humor can help you learn to sort of talk more positively to yourself, but you make like a little joke of it, so it doesn't feel too heavy. Oh yeah, Paris Hilton is in it. Yeah, I never saw it, but I remember the poster. Dada says, I don't think about it being retrograde. I go about my business like a normal day, so it can't bother me. That's a strategy as well, to be honest, because when you think about it all the time, it kind of hangs over you. The same stuff will happen whether you worry about it or not. So you might as well not worry about it. Spawn says the universe demands balance. So for every positive, there's an equal negative. The negative, I just take as a lesson on the path. True words, true words. Beautiful. Um, Amy says, I got the courage to go on a podcast a few years ago. Well, my mom thought it was good. That's amazing. Any compliment from a mother is a good start. Um, she says, working on doing it better and even being on a grizzly show. Do it. Do it by all means. It's a very friendly crowd here. Let's just make sure that I've not left anyone behind. Yeah, I'm going to need to start winding down, but I feel like she is, sorry. Oh, can't even get the message out. There we go. Working on a banger for the Grizz show. Brilliant. Here's down back again. Right. I'm going to have to wind down the show. And look, Crystal has made it very late. We're about to finish. Saying hello, everyone. Sorry I'm late. Hi, Crystal. Happy Veterans Day. Amy says, Mama Bear, after your bear. Taurus says, didn't we start predict the week during a Mercury retrograde? I think we did. Yeah, it was about a year ago. So, oh, there we go. There's the answer to the question I was wanting. So, Kathy says, I am a Leo. So, the Mercury retrograde barely touches Leos at all. Why? Because Leo is ruled by the sun. The sun never goes retrograde, always goes forward, very sunny, very positive. And this Mercury retrograde, again, like how I said earlier to Sabrina, who is a Cancerian, there's just the one day where the sun, the moon, and Mercury all catch up together. And it's not even necessarily that negative. It's just this is the only time that you touch the Mercury at all. So the 20th of November, good point being a little bit careful, but all the other dates you should be absolutely fine. So I'm going to wind down, but I'm going to put the rest of the messages to flash up as you're watching our outro, so that nothing gets missed. Just looking for our closing credits. I will be here same time next week, so hope to see you then. And I'm also here with Laura Dallaghan on Thursday. Have a good Mercury retrograde, and thank you so much for sharing this time with me.